Hi everyone, it's Tawney. Today we're going to be doing a first impressions, get ready with me kind of a video. I have some things I want to talk about, but I feel like I'm also going to be like mentioning the makeup that I am testing out today as well, like in between. So I bought a bunch of makeup this week and I'm very excited to use like all of it. I bought a lot of makeup recently, more so than I have been like the last couple months, and I've been really wanting to use it to see how I feel about it and to tell my thoughts about them to you all. I spent a bunch of money at Ulta. I was in store and they had like everything I've been wanting lately and then some. So I'd pick up a bunch of stuff. So we have the Maybelline Perfector Instant Age Rewind Perfector 4-in-1 Glow Makeup. I got mine in, I think it's light. Yeah, it's light. It's the second, it's one. There was one lighter than this, but I found that sometimes if I go in with foundation / base products that are too light, it tends to wash me out. So I'm trying to lean more towards things that are a little bit deeper, and then that way I can lighten up with my concealer essentially, because all of my concealer seems to be really, really bright. So I'm trying to like work around that and like adapt with it, if that makes sense. And then I've picked up the Physicians Formula Butter Believe It Foundation and Concealer. I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about this. I got the shade Fair. We're going to test it out. I've seen some people say they like it, but they're people that like different types of finishes of foundations than I do. So we'll have to see how we feel about that. I got the Makeup Revolution Super Fix Super Hold Misting Spray. I've seen pictures and videos and reels and such on their Instagram of them using this, and it looks really cool. So I've been really wanting to try it out myself to see how I feel about it, to see like if I would like it, because it like looks really good. And then I also picked up the Morphe 2 Quad Goals Multi-Palette in Fresh Peach. I know I said I wouldn't buy from Morphe again, and I do feel like a bit of a hypocrite buying this, but I saw this in my Ulta. And I kind of wish my Ulta would get rid of Morphe. I'm going to rip the box because I can't get this open. I kind of wish they would get rid of Morphe because it's such a big section and I don't like Morphe. And I don't like supporting Morphe. And I feel like they'd be better off putting in like a bigger range of e.l.f. or CoverGirl, or, I mean, they have a big section of NYX, which is like, NYX is one of those brands that like we could do a little bit less of, you know? But I really wish they would just get rid of Morphe so then we just don't have to deal with that. But I picked this one up and I'm hoping I like it, or I'm hoping it doesn't disappoint me as much as I've been expecting it to, honestly. It has a highlighter, a powder blush, a cream blush, and what looks like a cream highlighter. Okay, so it says Peach Swirl is the eyes, which was the first one. Papaya for cheeks is the second one. Coral for the lips was the third one. And Sorbet is the fourth one for the face. So I don't know how much of this we're actually going to be using today. I might just use the blush and the what's supposed to be for the eyes, but as a highlighter, and see what happens. But I'm not totally sure how I'm going to feel about this. I'm a little on the fence, like from the beginning I was on the fence about that. So I'm not totally sure how it's going to work out. I picked up the e.l.f. Electric Mood and Tiana Major 9 palette. I forgot that this is taped up. I hate when they tape up the palettes because it's usually so hard to get them open. If you know me and you know me with Wet n Wild, it's like literally impossible. Like they just never seem to want to. And this is doing the exact same thing. They're just so hard to get open. And it's like, why would you do that to us? Like, did we do something to you to like offend you that you're like, this is our revenge back at them? Okay, got it open. This is what the palette looks like. I am very excited to be using this. I'm not sure if this is the palette I'll be using. The colors look really nice, but again, I'm not sure how I feel about colors, and me don't go well. So I'm hoping it doesn't turn out, you know, like if I use it, it doesn't turn out quite as bad as I'm expecting, but I don't know. I want to use colors more, and I'm really trying to like dive into colors more, really trying to push myself, but it just hasn't been working. And for those of you who have been watching my channel, thank you, by the way. I have been doing these videos for the month of October, which I've done like half of what I've wanted to do, almost like a third of what I wanted to do at this point, where I've been doing different makeup looks. I've recreated a bunch of Instagram looks that I've seen, and some have turned out good and some have turned out like pure crap. I have a bunch of really cool ideas that I want to implement, but I just don't have the time to film. And I found that like this month is incredibly busy for me, so I don't know how many more I'm going to be able to actually do. So I'm hoping to get like 1 or 2 videos in before the end of the month and then do like what I'm wearing for Halloween, because I'm just going to sit out and give candy to the trick-or-treaters at this point. But maybe it'll be like interesting enough and it won't actually look bad. And then I have the Wet n Wild Color Icon palette in Sundays. I also have another one of these float around here somewhere. I'm not sure what the other one is that I have, but I like this formula in the 5-pan better than I do in the 8-pan, I think they are, 8 or 10-pan. I just find that this formula works better. I bought one of the 10-pan and hated it so much. Like, it just didn't work for me. I don't even know if I still have it at this point. I'm not seeing it anywhere, so I might have gotten rid of it, but it was terrible. And then I picked up the BH Cosmetics Absinthe palette. It's part of their Poison Shop collection. It looks like this, and let me tell you, when I saw this, I was like, bro, I need this. Like, I don't have many greens in my collection, and I've been wanting a really nice spooky green Halloween type palette. So I figured this one would be a good one to pick up because I've really been eyeing that collection. And they had this one, the red one, and the purple pink one. It was more like leaning pink, so I don't know if there's like 2 of them, and one's more purple, one's more pink. But I just liked this one the best out of all of those. So I was hoping they'd have some of the other ones, but they would only had those at my Ulta, and we were lucky to even get these at all because our Ulta is like pretty late in the game when it comes to getting new launches. And I was really hoping to get the new Simpsons Treehouse of Horror collection from Makeup Revolution, but they didn't have the big palette, and then they didn't have a couple of the things that they had like all stuff I wasn't planning to get, and I was just like, yeah, I don't want to look for it. And the last but not least, I have the Colourpop Sonic Bloom palette. I was never going to buy this palette, but I walked past it and thought it was so pretty that I was like, I'm gonna pick this up. I have to have it. So I think I might go in with this palette today just because it looks so pretty. It reminds me of the older Colourpop palettes because this one, you know, it has that plastic, like that cardboard packaging. It doesn't have a mirror. It's just the colors and like just a random release. I kind of wish it would have just been the palette instead of like launching all this stuff with it, because like we don't need a full collection. We just need palettes. Like, and even that's a lot, especially when they release stuff like twice a week, it seems. But I don't know, maybe it worked for them, maybe they think it works for them, who knows. I'm going in with the Wet n Wild Impossible Primer. I haven't used this in a little while. I mean, it's one of the more recent ones I have used. I haven't been doing my makeup a whole lot lately, and I like hate that, but I just haven't had the time, haven't had the energy. It's just been chaotic. So I'm going in with this one. I have been liking this, but I have to say the silicone texture of it, with it not being a silicone primer, is quite weird to me. Like, I'm a little confused about like what I should be doing with it, but it's not bad. I do like it. So I am wearing my Super Bowl Patriot sweatshirt, but we're not going to the Super Bowl this year. Very obviously not going, but we are playing right now and we're beating the Jets, which you got to take any kind of win you can get, even if it's against the Jets. So we're beating them like 41-17 or something like that. And I can't watch the game because I live too close to Washington, the football team, Washington football team. Can't use their old name because it's not appropriate, but I live too close to them to get any of the games from New England. How do you work this? Is this working? I don't know. I just turned it in a direction. We'll see what happens. Oh, thank you. Maybe I have to keep cranking it. I know with these and this kind of packaging, I have to keep cranking it to get it to do anything. To get anything to come up. We'll keep doing it until we get something. I'll keep talking. But, and of course, Washington was playing at the same time as the Patriots. So I got stuck. Oh, we're getting something. I got stuck not being able to watch my game, which it's whatever. They just don't want us to be happy. How do you apply this? apply directly onto face, blends into skin tone. So we're just going to apply this to the face, just all over. I already see a glow, but I can't tell if that's like just because my face is oily or if it's because of the lights or my primer or moisturizer, because all of those things can do that. We're just putting it everywhere, and then we'll blend it out with our Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I don't know how I feel about this yet. A lot of people said this could be a dupe for the, actually I'm going to use a beauty blender and just kind of go in with it just to make it like a more even application. I've heard a lot of people compare this to the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter thing. It's not a foundation, but it's not a primer. It's kind of like an illuminator, I guess you could call it. And I've heard good things about this. I've been trying to get it for weeks now, but every place I've gone to that would have this either doesn't have my shade, like they're literally like the darkest shades is all they have, and I can't pull that off, or they just don't have it at all. Like my CVS does good with Maybelline, like they have a lot of stuff, but they tend to not have new releases for a while. So that kind of, you know. So I'm going in with the Physicians Formula foundation. I put 2 pumps on the back of my hand, and it looks like that. It's a little bit liquidy, but not as bad as I was expecting. I thought it was going to have a doe foot in it, but it doesn't. I'm kind of bummed about that, because I love a foundation with a doe foot inside, especially if it's going to be a 2-in-1 kind of thing. So we're just going to go in and dot it all over with this brush. It's from Real Techniques. It's the Expert Face Brush, and it's what I use on everything. So I'm just going to go in and apply this to the face. It doesn't look like too bad of a shade match kind of a deal. Yeah, skin color match. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. You get the gist. It looks a little bit light, but once I blend it down into my neck, I feel like it's not bad. So I feel like this could potentially work, but we can always bronze up the face, do a, you know, big bold eye look to kind of distract it, you know. But like I was saying with football, we're doing really well today because we're playing the Jets and they suck. Sorry if you're a Jets fan. It's just, it's the truth and you know it. I'd hope so at least. Otherwise you're just, you know, sad all the time. But so I have to support my team even though I can't watch my team. But that's okay because it happens. I've only been able to see like 2 games I think so far. And we lost the one at like 11:30 at night because it was the game we played Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. I was very upset at that game because our kicker has been known to make those kinds of kicks and that game missed it. And I was like, dude, this is the only game that it really matters for you to actually make that kind of a kick and you didn't. Like where, you know, why can you, like he made the same exact kick today. It's like, why can't you make the same kind of a kick in that game when it matters for us to win? Like, could you imagine us beating Tom in his old stadium against his old coach with a new quarterback in the rain? I mean, this would have been like, you know, story of the decades. It would have been the game of the year. I mean, even though it wasn't that great of a game, but I'm like, it would have been, you know, incredible, but that didn't happen. So whatever. I'm clearly not salty at all. So I had been, okay, so I've done most of my face and I still have a good bit on my hand. So I would say like 1.5 pumps is all you need, even 1 pump. But the coverage is like really good on this. I was surprised. I was expecting like very light to medium coverage. This is almost full coverage, or I would even say full coverage, considering most of my chin is covered and that's like problem areas. Like you can still see it, but the coloring on them isn't like, it's not as bright and obvious as it usually is. I'm pretty impressed, and you can still see that illuminator underneath the Maybelline Perfector. So I'm really so far liking the results of all of this, and I, you know, have no complaints so far. It looks sort of dewy, but mostly matte. So if you are a person that likes more dewy of a product, I would say like, you know, use a primer that's more dewy or moisturize a little bit more for the dewiness if that, like, if you can do that or whatever. But just know that this does lean a little bit more like towards the matte side, which I'm totally okay with that. So we're going to pick out a concealer, and I think I'm going to go in with the Wet n Wild Incognito concealer. I have mine in the shade Light Beige, and I'm going to try and conceal. It looks like it concealed a good bit of my under eyes, but I always like to put conceal. Whoa. Okay, can you, if you can see, I'm going to try and like look at that orangey yellowness there. We might have to brighten on top of this once we're done. I might have to get a different shade because I'm thinking that light beige is too dark / peachy for me. And I usually go for a peach toned concealer and foundation because I like all of that to be more peachy. But this doesn't really look like it's going to, like, it looks like it might like discolor a little bit, if that makes sense. To me, it makes sense, but does it make sense to you guys? So far, not bad. Like, you can't really see. I don't know. We're just going to have to. I think I had used this once, and I could tell that my concealer was a little bit leaning orangish yellow. And I hate that. Like, I don't want it to look like that unless, like, I've done that on purpose, and I'm clearly not doing this on purpose. I mean, obviously. But, I'm going to, okay, that doesn't look too bad. I don't think I'll need to cover over it like I was expecting to. It's just I'm going to have to go get a different shade to replace this shade because this shade is clearly not it for me. I am not dark enough for this shade to work. Light beige is not my shade. And I'm pretty sure whenever I went one time, I'm going to use the Essence Brighten Up Banana Powder over my T-zone. But I'm pretty sure whenever I bought this, it was either hard to tell the shades apart, or I was just like, oh, let's try. I don't remember what my thought process was when getting it, but I feel like it was kind of confusing, and then they might not have had certain like undertones on the lighter side, because that's obviously what I would gravitate towards. Because sometimes that happens that they just don't have everything, so then I just have to take what they have, which it sucks whenever you have to do that because then you end up getting a color that doesn't match, but that happens sometimes. I'm still seeing a lot of the sheen on my forehead. I don't like sheen on my forehead, but honestly, that's not a bad, like, I don't hate it, so that's not bad. I am going in with the L'Oreal Lumi Bronzette Bronzer. I have the shade 1, which is light. I'm just going to bronze up on my outer areas. I have a lot going on in my head right now. I'm in one of those phases. It's a Sunday afternoon. I'm by myself. Like, it's me and the cat. I was watching Lost this morning, and spoiler alert for any of you who are or plan to watch Lost. So don't skip ahead so you can skip this part. So I just now got to season 4 this morning. I knew I was getting close. I had like 2-3 episodes left. So last night, I knew if I kept watching, I'd be up to like 2. And then if I needed to go on to season 4 real quick, I'd have to like plan ahead. And I was like, look, I'm going to stop now. I was at the second, I think I had 2 episodes left. So 22 and 23 were the only 2 I had left of season 3. And I was like, I'm going to wait till tomorrow. So in case something really dramatic happens, because it was leading up to something dramatic, then that way I can wait until the next day, have enough time to keep going, and then I could watch ahead if I really needed to like see what happens next in season 4, which I did end up doing, but not because like anything super important had happened. But, so I did all of that last night, and I was like anxious to start today because I'm like, what's going to happen? Well, Charlie had to go down in the stupid submarine, and he had to sacrifice himself, and I just kept thinking, dude, you can swim up in the water, you can pull yourself up that little hose thing, the anchor, and you can save yourself. You'll be okay. Stupid Charlie didn't listen to me. Now Charlie's dead. It's great. I was like, you know, it's one of those shows, nobody really dies when they die. That should be the, like, tagline for this show. I've been watching this show for a couple months. It's taken me forever because I'm only now interested in the show. To be honest with you, it's taken me 3 seasons to actually, like, give a crap about this show. Like, I liked the characters, I liked what was happening, but it just wasn't interesting enough for me to actually, like, keep up. I'm now using the e.l.f. Primer Infused Blush in Always Cheeky and just making my cheeks look a little bit rosier. But, so I've been watching for a while. A friend of mine had watched it before me. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just talk to you about everything and you can tell me, like, you know, so I don't have to look up anything and get any spoilers. Well, he was like, once you get to season 3, ask me, don't look anything up because it'll spoil everything. He said it'll basically like ruin the rest of the show for you. And I was like, okay, I only want to get something spoiled if I like actually want it to be spoiled. I don't want it to like, you know, them accidentally tell me so-and-so dies. I want him to tell me if I'm asking. So I get to the point where I can't remember, Bernard, I think. Bernard, Jin, and Saeed stay back to shoot at the dynamite on the beach whenever all of the other people show up to take the pregnant women. Which, that whole storyline is so weird to me. That, like, they want to kidnap pregnant women to do experiments on them because they can't be pregnant, but they are pregnant. Like, can't you just be excited that they are pregnant and hope for the best? Like, I understand they want to do their research because they're scientists and they, like, are doctors. And this is, like, their life's work and potentially, like, what they're on the island to do. I haven't actually quite figured that out yet. But that seems like what Juliet's, like, whole plan is at this point. Like, that's why she's on the island, was to help with, like, research and for a job. And then they're like, oh, wait, you can't ever leave, so here you go, and best of luck. Like, which, it's all, this show is so weird. I'm still in the mindset that this is just a normal plane crash, and they're about to be rescued. And that's, like, all the weird stuff that's happened. I can't quite grasp the fact that, like, weird stuff is happening. Like, that's still, like, it's still confusing to me. I'm on the whole, like, nothing weird should be happening. They're just survivors of a plane crash. And I'm really having to, like, wrap my mind around the weird stuff and just accept it for what it is, you know? So, they are on the island, and Ben was like, kill him in 1 minute if I don't tell you to not do it, whatever. So then you hear 3 gunshots, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they just killed Jin and Saeed. I like the other guy, but not enough to, like, actually care about him at this point, which I hate to say that, but it's the truth, you know. We don't really know him. He's not really that important to me. If he were to die, like, it'd be sad, but, you know, wouldn't really care that much. Jin, one of my favorite characters. Saeed, probably a top 2 favorite character. I think him and Sawyer are my top 2s right now. So I was like, oh my gosh, did they just die? So I text my friend and I said, oh my gosh, are they dead? Like, I need to know. I need to know. They're, like, my favorites. You need to tell me. Well, he was like, oh, this is a good episode. And that was all he said. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I need to know if they're dead. So, of course, then they go to the beach. They're not dead. They're sitting there just like they had been before. And they're like, dude, maybe we should have killed him. And I'm like, what the heck? And then I'm like, Tawney girl, listen. On this show, they don't die when you see them first die. They never die the first time you see them die. Like the time with Boone. You see Boone covered in blood. He looks like he's about to die. He's not actually dead. So I'm, like, super confused. So I thought he was dead, wasn't dead. Then we think that Shannon's dead, not dead, until she actually dies. And then at that point, you know. So then whenever they take Charlie down to the submarine, and he's going to sacrifice himself, I'm like, he's not going to die. He'll be fine. He'll come back up. It'll be all hunky-dory. Well, little did I know, they had other plans for Charlie. They had plans that I wasn't aware of, that I was trying to deny, but they had those plans. So Charlie sacrifices himself, and I said, nope, not dead. He's still alive somewhere. Whatever. So then I start season 4, and they're like, no, he's really dead. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I'm still under the impression that he's alive. Like, I'm still deep down hoping he's alive. Probably not true. He probably is dead. But, you know, it's where we're at now. Like, I use the e.l.f. Putty Eye Primer. Love that stuff. It's probably my new favorite eye primer just because it's so easy to apply for me. And I'm going to go in with the Colourpop Sonic Bloom palette. And we're going to create a nice, I think we're going to do like a nice burgundy look. So I'm going to start out with Lunar Disco in my crease and just blend that out while I'm talking. Because, you know, I have a lot to say. So I'm still under the impression that Charlie's alive. Like, I'm still thinking he's out there somewhere. Like, he's not dead. But I'm pretty sure he's dead. So now I'm really confused because I don't know what's going on with like all these characters because it's a new season. So they're going to try and like start up new storylines. They've separated the group into what I'm pretty sure is the Oceanic Six, but I don't really know much about it, but I have a feeling, and I'm a little nervous about that feeling. I don't want that feeling to be true, but I thought they had gotten rescued or something happened, but their group's the group that didn't want to be rescued. So now I'm confused. I'm a little surprised that everyone just like really easily left Jack's group to be with John, because John has like gone off the rails ever since he went to stay with Ben and his group and the others. John has just been like psycho, like so weird. I just don't, and maybe it's just because I don't understand John, but like what the heck. And then he got shot in the left side, and then they're like, oh, that's where my kidney was, and it didn't go through anything, so I'm fine. And it's like, where did this come from? Like, I'm so confused. So I don't understand. Like, I don't understand. So, and then John comes back, and then he lets the chick go, and then she transmits to her group, which she isn't supposed to. And then John's like, here, let's have a second group of people that decide we don't want to follow Jack. We don't want to trust him and all that, which I can understand not wanting to trust him after everything that has happened with him and the others. Him trusting Juliet, who was a, what's the word? A mole. She was a mole, which she kind of has redeemed herself. I really do like Juliet, and I want to trust her. I want her to be just as gullible as the rest of them. I want her to not know as much as the rest of them, but it's still kind of early on. Now I'm using Utopia, and I'm going to put that on the outer corner of my eye. It does look like I'm going brown, but this shade leans a little bit more purple. So I do have plans to go with like a more purpley burgundy look. So don't get alarmed that like it looks too brown right now, because we're not going to stay brown for long. We're going to go purple. Man, that sounds so weird, doesn't it? So now I'm like sucked into Lost. I feel like I have no idea what's going on. I really want to go on to some of the Reddit pages about the show, but I know it'll spoil things for me. So I'm just waiting things out. Gonna talk to my friend who's already seen the show. So then that way I don't really like spoil anything more. And then that way I can like see things as they happen. But I'm just really hoping that my favorite characters don't die, because I'm so like Saeed and Sawyer are probably my two favorite characters. Everybody else, sure, I'd be sad about, but I feel like those are the main two. Then I really like Sun and Jin. Those are like the next two. I really like Charlie, but I feel like the way he died was such an easy death that it like didn't hurt quite as much as I was expecting it would. And I really liked Boone and Shannon, so I'm very upset that I'm still upset that they're dead, honestly. I liked Echo, but not that much, so whenever he died, I was just like, I already thought he was dead, so it was like, it didn't really bother me any. John, I'd be surprised, but wouldn't care. Jack, I would care. Juliet, I would care for Jack, not because I like Juliet that much. Kate, I would feel bad because of everyone else, but I don't really care for Kate that much. Like, she's not really a favorite character of mine. Like, I was sort of expecting she would be. Like, I thought her and Jack would be, like, my favorite characters, but they're really not. Now I'm going in with Daffodil, which is a purple shade. Sure. And I'm going to put that right on the inside of this dark brown and then blend it into the crease there, just like I did with that brown, but just in a different area. And then I really like Hurley. I didn't think I would like him at all. Like, I really was expecting to like hate this character. I just thought he'd be one of those guys that like gets in the way constantly. But honestly, he's like one of my favorite characters now, to the point that if he were to die, I'd be pretty upset. Like, I wanted him to die when he was up on that cliff and that voice in his head was telling him to jump. But now I'm like really glad he didn't, because he's like taking such a big role on this show now. Like, his character is like stepping up, and I really like that. So he's definitely somebody that, like, I really enjoy watching. Okay, so this pink is, like, going all over the place, this purple. So we're going to blend it in on the lid there, where we said we weren't going to, but we're going to cover it up with Perennial, so it'll be fine. Like, we'll make it work. It's just not working how I had originally planned. But that's okay. So, I don't know. I'm just... And there's other characters that, like, if they were to die, I'd be sad. but not like, oh my gosh, my favorite character just died. You know what I mean? Like there's other ones that I'd feel that way about. Okay, so we're going to stop with the Lost spoilers now, and we're going to move on to talking about some other stuff. So I watch a couple vloggers, I should say vloggers, on YouTube. I watch Shelbizzle. She talks a lot about environmental things. She's a vegan. She lives in Texas. She does a lot of like harvesting in her backyard. She grows a garden. She has chickens. And she talks a lot about eco-friendly things and saving the planet. Well, she is married to Madison, and they have a vlog channel. It's Shelby and Madison. Madison mainly runs the channel, but Shelby sometimes like will be behind the camera. She'll be filming things. Like she's featured because obviously their wives are going to like feature each other, you know? And I really like their channel. I watch them every Saturday when they have a new video because I like really like them. And I watched their newest video, and they were, you know, cooking nice meals, doing some nice like recipes with, you know, for dinner and all that stuff. They went and got cute fall pictures, and it just got me like in the mood to do all of that myself. I'm like, I have so many cookbooks. I have so many, I'm going in with my crease brush from Makeup Academy, and I'm going to use that Perennial shade and try and tap that on over top of the Daffodil shade. So it got me really wanting to like use my cookbooks because I have like a big stack that I need to actually use, not just hoard. I need to go through them and find some good recipes, make some things, like do some fun stuff other than just staying in the same like continuous rut that I've been in. And I wouldn't say it's a bad rut. It's just a rut that I need to get out of. Like I want to get out of at this point. And I like want to take fall pictures. I've been bugging my boyfriend for over a month now. And this is like the 24th of October. And I've been trying to get him to sign us up with a friend of his for fall pictures for this whole month. And we haven't done it yet. And we're running out of time. Now I'm going to use that shade Daffodil with the same brush and just run it under my lower lash line. I think this might actually be a good brush for the lower lash line, so I might have to try and find a new one. But the only problem is that my CVS doesn't sell Makeup Academy anymore, so I don't know how I'll be able to track this down. But we'll try. I think this might be a little bit too harsh on the lower lash line. So we're really going to have to blend it out. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that being under the lower lash line. But, like, I really wanted to take fall pictures. We haven't done that yet, and we're running low on time. Where we're at, in my state, we are at peak, like, fall leaves. Like, they're at the best that they're going to look this season. And I'm like, dude, we need to go take these pictures, like, now. Like, we're running out of time. And part of me wants to go by myself, but, like, I wanted them with my boyfriend. But I also still want to take my own, like, get my own just of me and stuff. So I was going to do that today, but then I just, like, didn't feel like going anywhere. Didn't feel like leaving my apartment or anything. So I just kind of stayed home, watched TV, you know, the usual. I always do chores on Saturdays and Sundays. And since I was out yesterday, I ended up doing those today. And after I wiped off this brush, now I'm going back in just on the under part to try and buff it out a good bit so it's not quite as intense. Because I don't want my under eyes to be so purple, just a little bit. So I still want to get some like even by myself, but I don't know if I'll even get to that. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow night if I like don't have anything to do. Just go out, and there might be a nice spot near the ballpark in town where I live, where I could get some pictures done without having to travel too far away. I'm now using the shade Heyday and just putting that on my inner corner and brow bone. It kind of sucks though that like I had such good plans for like these pictures and like they won't happen. But I don't want to like nag my boyfriend that like, hey, we need to go do this, because that'll just like, you know, I don't want to like chase him away or like make him mad because I want to get some pictures. Like, it's not the end of the world if we don't get the pictures, you know. So I'm going to save the other 3 palettes for another time because obviously I already did my eye look and like we used, you know, we used those. So now I'm going to go in. I think today I'm going to use the ABH Iced Out Highlighter because I haven't done highlighter. I always seem to forget it, even though I love putting on highlighter. Like, maybe that illuminator today is just really like, you know, fooling me, making me think I already have highlighter on. But, so I have plans for that. And then I also wanted to, like, rearrange. I watch a lot of Lone Fox Home here on YouTube. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. I really like his videos. It's ran by this guy named Drew. He does a really good job with his videos. I feel like he's very smart and knowledgeable on home design and home decor and decorating and things like that. And it really made me want to, like, redo my living room, like, change up the way everything looks. But my apartment is one of those that, like, things fit where they fit, and that's all the place that they're going to fit, you know? I forgot I had this Morphe thing, and I was like, I thought I had a new blush. Well, I forgot the new blush. So, oopsie. I'm actually going to go in with the top shade, and I'm going to put that over top on my inner corner, and I think it'll create this really nice, like, almost green look. I kind of like that. It's not bad. I'm not hating. I'm not, like, in love with it, but I'm not hating on it either. Let's see. I'm going to use this Rimmel Color Stay Satin Ink liquid lip color in Partner in Crime. It's a liquid lipstick. That's what it is. But I have big plans to, like, change things up, move things around. I just kind of, like, I don't like being in the same, like, I don't like change, but I also don't want to, like, stay in the same rut, stay where everything, keep everything the same. Like, I want to switch things up a bit. So, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm hoping to, like, be able to spruce things up a little bit around here, change things up, just get things looking a little bit, like, different. But it's just kind of put me in one of those moods that, like, you just get down. And I've just been one of those moods today, just, like, I want to change things up. I want things to look nicer. Like, I like the way my living room and my living situation in general looks. But then there's sometimes that I just get really depressed just thinking about the way it looks. You know, like, I'm perfectly, like, whenever I decorate, I'll be like, oh, love this. Then, like, days later, I'm like, I hate this. Like, I don't like the way this looks at all. And it's hard because I don't want to feel that way, but I feel that way. So it's just something I'm, like, fighting with. I'm using the Lashes Lash Lift from Maybelline, the Falsies Lash Lift from Maybelline. I haven't used this in a while, and this is one of my favorite mascaras. This is better than the Sky High mascara, and don't let people tell you otherwise. I hate that mascara. I don't think it works well. I don't think it does much. You have to spend like 10 minutes to get your lashes to do anything, whereas this is a first coat with like 5 seconds. So, I mean, if you like it, that's fine. I'm glad it works for you. But my eyelashes are not finicky in the slightest. I don't need to curl them. I don't want anything but volume. And it doesn't really do anything for me. Like, I'm not impressed with it at all. And I feel like the more I would use that one, the more clumped up my mascara gets. And I hate that feeling. So, you know. Okay, now we have to use the Super Fix Super Hold Misting Spray to set our makeup. If I can get this off. Wow. Had to get it. Oh, that's a nice mist. Doesn't really smell like much, but I really like the way this look, first of all, before we spray, turned out. I really like the illuminator, but I'm going to keep using it. The foundation so far looks really nice, and I think it was a good shade for my face. The concealer was the problem here. It was just a little bit, I can see some of the color peeking through, but not that bad. The eyeshadow palette, super gorgeous. Gonna keep playing with that. I think that was all kind of the new stuff. I really like that Morphe product so far. I'm gonna have to use it more, but so far, it's not actually that bad. I'm not saying you should go out and buy it by any means, but like, if you're interested in it, it's not terrible. I picked up the peach one, the fresh peach one, but they had some other shades that looked really nice, but this was the one I liked the best. And for 16 bucks, I was only going to take one because that's kind of expensive. Like, if this brand is leaning more towards teens and you're going to charge $16 in the drugstore side of Ulta, ooh, you're getting up there a bit. Oh, okay. This smells great. It kind of reminds me of celery, like when you cut up celery a little bit. I'm not even kidding you. But I do like the way, it's with aloe and vitamin E. So maybe that's what I'm smelling is the aloe. I'm not allergic to that, but if you are, I would say to like test it on your arm before you like put it on your face, just to make sure you don't have a reaction. But so far so good, not hating it. I will tell you guys how I feel about this either in another video, or if I can remember to film a final how I feel. It's currently 4:30, so hopefully 9:30, 10 o'clock I'll be taking off my makeup and I'll be able to film a like what it looks like, how I feel, final results kind of a thing. So stay tuned for that or the next video. I hope you guys liked this video. It was kind of all over the place with what we were talking about, but there are things that were on my mind. I don't usually get to talk about shows that I'm interested in because I usually like forget that I'm binging, or I binge so fast that like I just don't have time with a YouTube video to talk about it. But if you guys are interested in that, let me know. If you have any shows you'd like to recommend, I can either rewatch them if I've already watched them before, or just talk about them from what I remember. I don't have the best memory with shows, but I do try to remember good, like most stuff, at least the major storylines and stuff that really matters. But I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. Ring that notification bell down below so you get notified when I upload the next video. Stay tuned for that because it could potentially be a Halloween look, and I will see you then, guys. Bye!